Hey, and welcome to our Successful Farmer, our Innovation in Agriculture show. Today, it's a little bit of an open framework here. I just kind of wanted to lay back a little bit and find out what are you guys interested in? What is it? What topics are you guys looking for? Because I've been talking to farmers all week, and a lot of farmers right now here in the United States are really, focusing on harvest. They're focusing on yields and just doing all that hard work. And so a lot of them have told me like, don't contact me, contact me in a couple weeks or something. And I get it. Farming is one of those things. It's a very hard working job. You guys work many hours, and during harvest and planting season, it seems like the farmers are very hard to get a hold of it, and rightfully so. You guys are working hard, so hopefully everything is going well for you this year. Hopefully you're getting a good harvest, everything's looking good. And if it's not looking good, or if you're worried about stuff, I've talked to a lot of guys in California that are just, they don't know what to do. They're beside themselves. They're worried about what's happening with the water and the drought and everything else. And I got other farmers in the Midwest saying, "Geez, I wish I could pipe that water over to them because we're just drenched, we're covered in water." So that's kind of the way it is, I guess, and maybe that's the next phase of agriculture after everybody uses the Kemonoxy plant booster to get the most yield that they can. Is maybe we work out how the logistics of how to get water from one spot to another. So the places that have too much can pipe it over to the guys that need it, and we can all work together. But speaking of water, I wanted to kind of go over that a little bit because a lot of times, farmers they're not really tracking with the idea that an irrigation device is actually saving them water, and they're wondering how they're able to do that. Obviously, what we're talking about is farmers that are already irrigating, so they're already using water, right? Now, for those of you guys who don't know, who haven't had a lot of experience with this, farming and commercial agriculture is actually the number one use of fresh water around the world. It by far exceeds the amount of water we consume for drinking, by probably a factor of 10. I mean, a lot more water is used in agriculture than used for drinking water, or even safe water that we bathe in, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of an important topic if you think about it. If you want to look at like how much water are we using for commercial agriculture, and with the various environmental factors that's happening, whether you buy into global warming or not. I mean, the reality is we all have to be stewards of our environment, and we all have to also grow because farmers are under a lot of pressure right now. The farmers are under pressure to produce more and more food, right? We're always worried about a growing population. Like by 2050, we have 10 billion people on the planet. One and a half times what we have now, and you're wondering, well, what are we going to do to feed all these people? Are we all going to starve to death? And I don't think that that's such as much of an issue as people make that out to be. But the pressure is there, political pressure, and also the sociological pressure is there to produce, produce, produce. And from an economic standpoint, of course, farmers want to produce more yield because they get paid by the yield. They get paid by the pound or by the ton or by the bushel or whatever the unit of measure is. They're getting paid for their yield. And that's one of the reasons, probably the reason why when I ask farmers, what is the thing you most want to improve, yield is always the top thing that they would mention. Unless they just have some serious problem going on in their farm, it's almost always they want to increase the yield. And I think in terms of a global problem that we're really facing in terms of food. I think the things that don't get talked about enough is nutrition and logistics, actually, because a lot of times it's not a matter of we don't produce enough food on the planet to feed everybody. It's getting the food from where it's grown to where it's ultimately consumed in an efficient manner. Especially when you have things like COVID and everything else that makes these crazy regulations that makes it much more difficult for transport. Um, this is it can be a problem. In fact, right now we're looking at transportation costs could go up 30 to 40 to 50%. So if you're worried now about your profitability, fertilizer could be a huge thing because I'm hearing stories that fertilizer is going to go up 30 to 50% because of the increased cost of transport to get it from where it's produced to the farm is going to cost a lot more money in fuel costs. fuel's already gone up like I believe $1 a gallon since the last election, and I think it's just going to get worse, especially with all the subsidies and everything that's been going on for COVID. I think the transportation costs are going to go through the roof, and a lot of our goods are going to get a lot more expensive too. So now is the time, if you were worried about that, if you to look into technologies like cars that are going to be obviously much smaller and much more efficient, but it's going to make your growing operation more efficient, so you don't need as much of that large tonnage of fertilizer. So I'm just kind of just Q&A. I want to just ask you is what questions do you guys have? If you guys have questions about the Kimanasi plant booster. If you've seen our technology in our company before, what questions can I answer for you? Maybe you have technical questions. Maybe you're not sure what it is. If you're new to the broadcast or new to our show, you just want to chime in, just say, hey, how you doing? Please feel free to do so. This is kind of an open forum today. I didn't have a ton of content for you guys today because I really just wanted to, a lot of farmers again are telling me that because of harvest, they're not really able to watch the show live right now. Of course, they'll catch up later. So I wanted just to take this opportunity before we just keep feeding more and more content to let you guys ask me questions and let's have a dialogue here. What is it that you're concerned about farming? What are the main issues that you're confronting right now, and how can we help you with those? I've heard the ones I'm hearing most often are labor, water availability, and water quality is another thing, and then of course yield. Everybody wants to get more yield. So guys, just let me know in the comments. What are you guys struggling with right now, or what are you guys looking to improve about the farm, or what is it that you're looking for in terms of farming technologies and innovations that you think could help, or what do you want to see? Because sometimes uh, what is not communicated when you guys don't when the users don't communicate what they need and want, then the producers or the innovators, the companies like ours that are trying to help, don't always know the best way to go about it, or they don't always know what to create here. So Robert had a question. I just want to see here. He said, agriculture to me means life. Absolutely. I mean, we all have to eat food, right? We none of us are will be here without food, and water, of course, again, is a big part of that. One question I have here is, does it help with cloudy weather? Well, I can't change the weather. Our technology does not affect weather itself, obviously, but what it does, this is a question we do get a lot in our presentations too. What our technology does is it increases the plant's ability to absorb available resources, and that includes water, nutrients, sunlight in terms of the chlorophyll. It actually enhances the collection of sunlight or the utilization of sunlight's energy in terms of its photosynthetic process. And so, from that perspective, it's able to keep the plant going in weather conditions that would normally negatively affect energy production in the plant. So, when you have cloudy weather, our technology helps with is it utilizes the available sunlight more efficiently. So because there's signaling systems that mimic sunlight. So it's kind of like if you had it's hard to explain it this way, but our signaling system operates almost like a communication system that tells the plant, hey, there's sunlight here, open up your leaves, or there's carbon dioxide available, open up your leaves, or there's plenty of nitrogen and water here, so maintain your open status, so that photosynthesis continues to occur. So our system widens the range under which photosynthesis occurs. So if you have cloudy weather, it will keep that plant going so that it continues to produce energy. If you have hot weather where normally the plant shuts down and slows its growth, our system will keep that process going at its optimal rate so that it will continue to produce energy. The average farm, based upon all my calculations, the average farm probably loses about 30% of its possible yield every season because of these weather fluctuations. And I think our system is going to help the plant recover a lot of that energy. When you can recover that much energy, of course, you're going to see differences in yield and quantity and quality of yields as well, which is, of course, what we're seeing around the world. So, Laura asked me a question. Do I have to change my irrigation system? She's called irrigation in Spanish. That's funny. Do I have to change my irrigation system to install this technology? The answer is most of the time, no. In most cases, what we do is we have transmitters that send our signals into the water, and in most cases, we're able to just attach our transmitters to the outside of the existing pump or water source. So in most cases, we don't have to change the irrigation system. You just attach our system to the outside, and then you just water the crops as normally. For smaller applications or for trials where you're installing it like mid-field, you might have to plumb our devices in order to use them. But again, that's a simple process for most farmers. And if it's a challenge for a grower, then we actually hire a professional irrigation company to come in and do the installations for us. So that's all taken care of as part of our service. So no problem there. Next question I get here is, does this, let me just, I'll start putting these questions up here so you guys see them. Does this help reduce pesticides? Yes, we're noticing that. I get another question we get related to that is, does this technology affect pollinators? Does it negatively affect pollinators? Um, the answer to these questions about insects specifically is our system does not negatively affect insects, whether they're parasites or pests, or whether they're pollinators or beneficial insects to a plant. What our system is doing is making the plant healthy. Again, going back to what I said a minute ago, our system is widening the range of conditions under which photosynthesis or energy production in the plant continues to occur. So, what we're seeing is the plant now has enough energy to produce flowering and fruits and vegetables, which is the production side of it, right? But it also has enough energy to enhance its natural immune system, if you will, or resilience against insects and diseases and funguses and those types of things that would normally help to decay or kill a plant, right? So what we're seeing is a plant, and just to look into, and I'm not an entomologist, but my understanding is when a plant is attacked by an insect, let's say you have an insect that's eating the leaves or eating up the fruit, that will trigger a biochemical response, a biological slash chemical response in the plant, and it will start to change the chemistry of its leaves or of its fruit in such a way as to make that fruit or that leaf less desirable for the insect. And the insects can sense these biochemical changes, and they tend to avoid those plants with a strong immune system. So what happens is the insects start to go away from fields that are treated with Chiminasi plant booster, and they start going to untreated fields like that are nearby. We can look at predatory insects as nature's sort of garbage collectors, right? So they actually help to break down and decay and the plants or living organisms that are dying, and they help that decay process, which of course feeds future generations of plants, and puts organic matter into the soil and feeds future generations of plants. That's the natural cycle, and that's insects are part of that natural cycle, just like funguses and other diseases can be part of that decaying cycle, which leads to the next generation. So, but if your plants are healthy and they're vibrant and they're strong, and that's what our technology really helps with, then their immune system and their own biochemical defense mechanisms against insects will be much stronger as well, and the insects will avoid those treated fields. Great question there. Next question is, if I have, let me read this out here. If I have different crops on the same farm, do I need to install a unit for each crop? That's actually a really good question. The answer is no. Actually, our technology works very well with all different types of crops. To date, I think we've tried this on, I think over 1,000 different varieties of plants, whether it's, fruit plants or vegetable plants or trees, nuts, fruit trees. We've tried this on perennials, on annuals. We've tried this on grasses and wheat, hay, virtually every type of plant, you can think of, even grass and turf and sod, that kind of stuff. So our technology, because it's really enhancing photosynthesis, it works on virtually all plant varieties, and it will produce a great result on all of your varieties. So if you've got 10 or 15 acres and you've got 20 different crops along that 10 or 15 acres, our Chiminasi plant booster will make all of them better. So you can definitely use one device and get the maximum benefit for all your crops. It'd be totally good. Let's see what I got here. Alejandro, it looks like he's just Alejandro Sepulveda's. At least he's got a bunch of just consonants. It looks like either a cat ran across his keyboard, or I don't know. He just I don't know what that comment is, but that's fine. Alejandro, if you had a comment there, please retype it so I can read it for you, because it looks like just a bunch of consonants there. So no problem. Another question I get is, where can I get this, or how can I find out more? I mean, of course, you can call us 727-324-6750. It's our main line here. You can also email us at service@harvestharmonics.com, and we'd be happy to work with you there. Um, Another question I get a lot is, how much money can I make with this? And that's actually a good question, because obviously that's going to vary. It varies by the crop that you have. So if you're a corn farmer or a soybean farmer or a wheat farmer, any kind of commodity crop where you're basically farming broad acres, like lots of acres, but the average yield per acre or revenue per acre is relatively low, then you're still going to make 2 to 3 times your return on investment with this. That's what we're seeing. If you're growing a specialty crop like blueberries or strawberries or tree fruit or nuts, I mean, I would expect you to get at least 5 to 10 times your return on investment, meaning you're going to get 10 times more in terms of additional revenue than the cost of our device. So if you're looking for a fertilizer that's cheap, that might give you a slight increase in yield, that's not our device, guys. That's not where we're playing. We're playing in the field of our technology is more expensive than a fertilizer, but it generates yields that are tremendously higher than any other input. So if you're the kind of guy that wants to invest in your farm and really create a huge difference and a huge result, and you're tired of these little incremental improvements that don't really get you anywhere in the long run, then the Archimedes Plant Booster is for you, because we're seeing huge returns. And of course, we guarantee it. So no farmer ever loses money with us. That's our long-standing guarantee. So there's really nothing to lose to try this out. So we try to take all the risk on ourselves, because we know that this technology is amazing and it does amazing things. And the only way we're going to prove it is by farmers taking advantage of this and using this on their farm. So you can follow us on Twitter as well if you like, at Kiminasi Tech. We have lots of pictures there. Oops, I got calls coming in as I do my presentation. Seems like every time I do these presentations, I get more calls during that half an hour than I get all day. Well, not all day, but definitely always busy there. But I'll get back to you in a minute. So again, guys, if you have more questions, definitely let me know. I think what we're seeing with this technology, and the other question I get is, what universities and peer-reviewed studies do you have on this? And I want to explain this because we are in progress on about 20 or 30 different trials right now. This technology was released at the end of 2019, and most farmers in the United States were telling us, farmers in South America and in tropical zones, they jumped on this and they started using it, right? Farmers in the United States, all, during the wintertime said, okay, this looks good, but I want to wait and have these conversations during the springtime when I'm closer to planting. So we kept getting all these people saying, yeah, we want to try it, but let me get to the springtime. And even universities were saying, okay, good. We had, I think, 5 different studies already lined up for 2020, for the Kiminasi Plant Booster, with different universities wanting to run different trials. And we were excited because we knew we were going to have the chance to really prove this technology on real world farms and in university trials. And we were super excited in 2020 for the release. And then come March or late February, March, of course, we all know what happened in 2020. COVID hit. Farmers were really scared because they didn't know. A lot of them didn't know if they were even going to have workers to work on the farm, or how it was going to affect them. A lot of farmers that cater to the restaurant industry actually lost their business, or really had heavy losses, because their whole market just evaporated instantly. They couldn't do anything about it. In terms of university research, all the universities that we had agreements in principle to get these studies underway, all were saying, look, everybody has to stay home. We're maintaining our long range trials just because we have to, but everything's on a complete need only basis, and we're not taking on any new trials right now. because everybody's forced to stay home. So all those university trials that we had lined up in 2020 all got postponed, and we were like, all the farmers want to say, well, hey, we want to see these results. We want to see this independent study. That's not you saying that your technology is great, but we want these independent researchers verifying and validating what you're saying. And we were all on board to provide that evidence, but then COVID hit, and we couldn't even, nobody could even do research. So we soldiered on as best we could, and we got a lot of farmers going. But a lot of what was supposed to already be done in 2020 when we launched this product, we had to postpone to this year. And right around now is harvest time, and a lot of these studies are wrapping up. Well, we're seeing some tremendous initial results and early data on these results. And again, we're just waiting for those final harvest numbers and the peer-reviewed studies so we can share them with our farmers. Because we understand, there's a lot of companies out there promoting things, and sometimes it's hard to gauge which one is legit, which one is not. And we want this technology to be the most vetted and tested technology on the planet. In fact, our mission is to have 1,000 professional research trials and university trials around the world, all on Kiminasi plant booster, to show that where this technology works on all crops in all regions and all soil types, etc. So if you guys are watching this and you want university studies, I kind of throw it back on you. What kinds of connections do you have with universities that you can help us so we can get more of these studies done? Because we want to prove this technology. We want to show that we're the real deal here. And of course we need help connecting with these guys in some cases. So any other questions, guys? Here, I don't see any other questions, guys. I think I'm gonna wrap this episode up here. If you guys have questions and you guys have topics you want more information about, or if you guys have experts that you think would be good guests for our show, please either type them in the comments here, or you can send us a messenger message, or even just call us. Like I said, go to our website and fill out our form, or you can call us also, and just let us know what you guys want to see. We want to make these shows informative and interesting and hopefully fun, and provide you with the data you need to help make your farm better. So our whole goal, again, in this company is to help make farmers more money and produce better quality fruits and vegetables for everybody to eat so that we all win. And that's, I think, a game I think we all can get behind and can all play. That's all we got today, guys, though. Have a great, great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want more information or you want to get a quote, there's a link to a quote form you can fill out here on the feed here. You can also go to our website and fill in the contact form, and we usually reach out to you within a day or two. So give us those questions. We'll be happy to answer them for you. And have a great day and enjoy the rest of your harvest. Thanks.